What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 6 of season 2 of JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen. JJK is back, and we are past the 5 episodes we watched before. We're now moving into the Shibuya Incident arc. Is that what it's called? All right. So, we've watched this episode. We're going to be reviewing it. We're going to be going full spoilers ahead. So if you haven't watched this episode, you should watch the episode and then come back and have the conversation with us about what you thought of it as well. And, I think that's about everything. So let's go into a real quick recap. Definitely fill in the gaps if I miss anything here. But we are reintroduced to Yuji and everybody else hanging out, talking about movies, all sorts of stuff. They're living their lives. We're back on the modern timeline. We're not back on the Geto and Gojo timeline, which was interesting enough. They're all hanging out, and we get into a conversation with Todo, and I forgot the girl's name, about how Yuji and his, Megami, I forgot the girl's name, Panda, and the weapon chick, they're all being considered to be getting...
I'm bad with names, so I can't help you.
Yeah, well, I got some of them. They're all being considered to be moved up in their rank, essentially. They discuss that, and Todo is excited for Yuji to move up so they can be put on assignments together, but then he is told that if he's the one who's doing the considering for him, he won't be able to do that. And he's left in a room with the light shut off. When that happened, you brought up, why'd she shut the lights off on him? Very, very funny. So then we find out about a girl who apparently went to school with Yuji. What was her name? Oh, Ozawa?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And she's coming to see Yuji.
No. She moved to Tokyo, and then she just happened to see him on the street.
Yeah, she did literally see him. Okay, yeah. So the girl who I forgot her name, and she talks with her, and she's trying to kind of investigate what's going on. Like, what's the deal? What's the past? Whatever. She brings in Megami. He's drinking his coffee, and they end up bringing Yuji. They're wondering if he's even going to recognize her because when she was younger, she was bigger, and now she's not. She's very tall, like really tall.
And she grew a bunch.
Yeah, and he recognizes her, and they talk, and they kind of move on. So we're gonna see where that's going. Very interesting. I got some suspicions with that, but I'm not sure. And more social stuff, and then we go into an investigation on the mole that we heard about in season 1. In which I had forgot you told me. I forgot there was 2 moles, but I remember in season 1 they talked about a mole. So they're trying to figure out who that is. We end up finding out that the mole was Mechamaru, and he is working or was working with Geto and Mahito. That's the name? That sound right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm asking you. So they have a pact. But he's not willing to work with them after this, so they are considering killing him, but because of the pact, they have to do their end of the deal, which is to heal his body, essentially. They do that, and then right after that, he sends his other many Mechamarus after Mahito. I always want to say Mojito. He fights them off. He escapes. He ends up getting into Gigantic Ultimate Mechamaru, which is essentially just a Gundam. And he realizes that they have I forgot what they're called, the shroud thing that they put around the veil, yeah. I'm so rusty on Jujutsu Kaisen because it was a while since we saw the first season, and at the beginning of this season, 5 episodes was just kind of a very isolated thing, so I'm forgetting all the terminology and shit.
Yeah, hidden inventory was very specific.
Very specific on it. Yeah, it was really good. Watch our reviews if you're curious about that. I'm trying to get re-warmed up to the Jujutsu Kaisen universe. We're left off with him essentially trying to escape these 2. He realizes he's not... potentially going to do well in that, but he thinks he has a chance, and he wants to get to Gojo so Gojo can protect him. yeah, we're left off with him blasting
and
Mahito.
warn them about their plans in Shibuya.
Yeah, because they have a plan in Shibuya, which makes sense because the arc is called that. Yeah, that's a very basic and loose interpretation of the episode. What do we think?
First off, the humor in this episode was awesome.
It was a really funny episode.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I love the like real detailed drawings, and then just instantly the most like ridiculous like low effort drawings for just moments of like huh, or what the hell, type of things.
Or the really dramatic drawings when Ozawa's asking, I forgot her name.
Oh, were there?
If she has any interest in Yuji, and she's like, no. And her face is like really serious.
Or even when they have the realization that there's a chance that it might work out, they just both have very serious faces, like chance.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I'm glad, when they do that in anime, because a lot of times, especially in like battle shonens, like it's so serious all the time. So it's nice to have like moments to just kind of like loosen up a little bit, so you're not just in constant battle mode.
I kind of forgot that there's a lighter humor element to JJK because it's been a while since we watched for season 1, and towards the end of season 1, it gets really more serious. But then the 5 episodes we watched before this, I wouldn't necessarily say it gets serious, but like it's only 5 episodes, and they're trying to tell a very specific plot as quick as they can within five episodes that they didn't get to really settle in. And this episode really, for a good chunk of it, was just like lighthearted fun.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like it served the purpose to get us reacquainted with the dynamics of the characters and how they talk with each other and stuff as we build towards whatever this Shibuya incident's going to be.
Yeah. I also think it's a good idea to have some just like live-in moments before you jump to the next story. Like, a lot of shows in general do that, and there's a reason for that. So,
well, I mean, you gotta make the characters likable. They can look cool all day, but if they're not talking to each other and doing stuff that makes you go like, "Oh, that's funny. This is something they would totally do." Then when something happens to them, you're just gonna be like, "Well, that fight scene was cool, but we'll see what happens to this person." But if it's a character you like, you're like, "Oh shit! Hopefully nothing bad happens."
For sure. Yeah. So it's nice to see the crew again from the first season, and then them moving straight into the mission in Kyoto. To basically be that like unbiased investigating team. Kind of leading into the Mechamaru stuff. It was interesting because like, I didn't think we were going to jump like right into that so quickly, which I'm kind of glad we are, because it'll kind of get us to the meat, hopefully, of this, because we have a huge chunk of this season to get through still. And if it's mostly just like the Shibuya stuff, that would be pretty awesome. So, because as much as I like season 1, I felt like it had a lot of explaining to do, as most first seasons of shows do.
Well,
and so with everything kind of explained, and then us getting a movie and the hidden inventory stuff for the past, we can just go, hopefully, which would be awesome. But we'll see.
Yeah, I really liked the first season of JJK, but I didn't love it, which made me confused, because people talk about Jujutsu Kaisen like it's like the best thing ever, and I'm not denying that, but I just didn't feel like I was like, the story probably gets like really cool later, maybe that's like retroactively what I was really excited about, but like I felt like a lot of things were missing when I watched it, and a lot of it was just like there's a shitload of characters and a lot of plot and a lot of like lore we have to get through in one season, and they did that. And then when we watched the movie and then watched the last 5 episodes, that was needed for me. Like, there's still people who haven't seen the movie, like us for a while there, and I tell people now, I'm like, it's kind of essential. Like, you kind of have to watch that movie, because like it did a lot for me personally, for the characters, because like before that, when Geto's like slinking around being sneaky, sneaky guy, always smiling,
who just talks to curses.
I was just like, when are we gonna get who's that fucking guy? And then after watching the movie, I'm like, oh, okay, that just, I could watch season 1 and like know his backstory now, and now it doesn't matter that he's just like minimal in that season. So yeah, anyway, with all that said, there was a lot to cover in the first season that needed some gaps filled in, and now we can just focus on a plot obviously introduce like new characters like Ozawa, and I'm sure other ones we'll find out. But like Mahito can just show up, and we already know a lot about him already and what he's capable of. And Ghetto, there's nothing that needs to be explained to him about him anymore, unless there's more to add to his story, of course. But like when he shows up, I'm not just like, what's this guy fucking doing?
Well, even when they were fighting, and he was just doing all this stuff, we didn't need explanations of his ability and stuff like that. So we got to just have a fight scene.
Mechamaru's already been explained, so now we just see him. We're like, okay, cool. And so I feel like this season's going to be probably a lot better for me now that a lot of things have been established and now that they can kind of get the ball rolling with a lot of stuff. That being said, the episode was really good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was funny. I think it added a lot to the character of the characters, because that was one of my biggest complaints about the first season. Might sound blasphemous, but like I didn't really attach myself to a lot of characters outside of I liked Yuji. I like Gojo, of course, but everybody likes Gojo. He's just too likable. He's supposed to be. Yeah. But now I even like, I think Ghetto is an interesting character now, which did not think that in the first season. But I had problems with like Megami and the girl. I forgot her name. Hopefully I can get that. In the first season, I was like, yeah, get there, like, his essentially like classmates or whatever, and she's kind of like the hard ass on Yuji, and he's just kind of the quiet, cool guy. But like other than that, I was like, there's not really much that we didn't explore them as characters a whole lot. So this episode, little things like this where they get to sit down, talk to Ozawa about Yuji, we get a little bit more character from them, and I appreciated that. I liked the humor. I liked the just the kind of settling in on the world a
Hidden
bit more.
Inventory also helps a lot with I can't remember dude's name now. The son.
Megami?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it gives him a little bit of a background for sure, which actually makes him as a character more intriguing to me on where he'll be going, because there's this interesting past on who his dad was and how he even got brought in.
And Sukuna, I can't remember dude's name.
I think it's Sukuna.
Was interested in him right off the bat, and there was no context to why when that happened.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I forgot about that when they have that talk
one-on-one. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I feel like the story is going to be really good as we go, because there's all these intentional gaps of information that are being filled in, and so once I get the whole picture, it'll be worth it. It's just you got to get through the way they've decided to tell the story. It's not a lack of information; it's the way they've decided to give it to us. So it's interesting. But yeah, one of my biggest complaints was just not getting to know the characters at all. Even the curse weapon girl in season 1, I was like, gosh, dude, she's like one-dimensional. Like, that's fine, she's cool, she's badass, I get it, but that was about it. But then in the movie, they gave her some character, and I was like, oh, okay, like these aren't just like blank slate, just like basic archetypes. There's stuff to them, so that's interesting. I'm glad also we found out who the mole is, because that was kind of getting built up, and I was like, how long is that going to be a thing? Are we going to go through multiple seasons of like well, I don't want to speak out of school, but like in Bleach, when early on they're like trying to figure out who like there's like people who are the bad guys or something in, I forgot what the place is called.
It's people manipulating Soul Society.
Yeah, Soul Society. It's been so long since I watched Bleach. It's kind of starting to remind me of that a bit, where I'm like, who's the bad guys? Who's going to betray who? So I'm glad we just kind of found out it's Mechamaru. Kind of makes sense, because even though he's not, I guess, not going to be a villain, his mech looks pretty. It looks like a villain. Looks like a bad guy. I remember first season when he showed up, I'm like, he just looks like a bad guy, dude. Like, this guy's up to something, and he kind of was. But I think it's interesting that he worked with them to get his body back, but now he's seeking essentially protection from Gojo. I wonder if there'll be any ramifications if he survives.
Yeah, so he definitely did, something very selfishly there to, for self gain, but then it wasn't his intention to stay that way. It was just give me a body so I can be normal.
Yeah. So. Yeah, which is interesting. Change, like when they gave him his body back, I was like, oh, that's interesting. A character that was kind of established as one thing isn't that anymore. So we're getting like an evolution a bit on some characters that I wasn't expecting. If he survives this whole Mahito thing. Something's gonna have to intervene because if he does survive, because I don't think he's gonna be powerful enough to fight Mahito, let alone Geto. So I mean, he's got mechs, but Geto could just summon some crazy shit and destroy him. So that's me speculating a lot, but obviously I don't know where things go. But we'll see. I like that he has a giant mech. That's kind of cool.
It's been storing years of cursed energy or whatever.
Yeah. At first I was like, for a split second, I was like, how'd he build that? But then like he had all those little Mechamaru robots.
Control puppets. That's his thing. Yeah.
So they're probably working on it for him. So it's kind of an interesting
it's just
thing.
a giant puppet too. So
Theoretically, he could just have like a whole army of fucking Mechamarus. So that'd be scary. But yeah, overall, it was a good episode. Really good first episode. I was worried that it might start slow because sometimes first episodes do because they're trying to establish some stuff. But like, it was a lot of like chill, no fight scene stuff, but it was all fun. So no complaints. Yeah, really interested to see where it goes. Really curious to find out what the Shibuya incident is without you guys spoiling it for me. If you do know, we don't know. We have not read the manga.
Though, if the intro is anything to go off of, it looks like it's just going to be all out war.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, the intro is a bit apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Very dark. I like it. I like the way it looked.
We didn't even talk about the OP.
Yeah, the OP was really good.
Yeah, I'm not in love with the song, but the OP as a, like an opening, I liked a lot.
The animation and visual style
song
cool.
for Hidden Inventory was way better. So,
and then the outro was kind of had like this like photographic, nostalgic feel to it that I thought was cool too. So tonally, the intro and outro are kind of intense or somber, which I guess is kind of typically an anime thing, but it does feel fitting for whatever the hell is going to happen. So without me knowing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall good episode. Really excited to see episode 2. This is already starting off really good. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. I'm just happy to, as much as I really like and appreciate the going back to Gojo and Geto because we needed that. And then the movie telling a story that I'm really interested to see how that fits in with the current timeline. I'm really happy to be back on the current timeline to get the ball rolling on the story that we started with season 1. So, yeah, good stuff. Got anything else? All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think of episode 6 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And what stood out to you? Is there something about the episode we didn't talk about that you want to talk about? Let us know. And yeah, stay tuned. We'll have another review for episode 7, though I will be on vacation this next week, so it may be delayed, but it will happen because we're going to be watching it anyway. So, and yeah, we'll try and get something else out here soon. We kind of took a break there for a little bit with the gap between the episodes and this, but we'll figure something out. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy, and we'll talk to you guys later.